Welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're going to show you how we built this guy, a custom conversion out of what was some broken bits that arrived. So they showed up broke, ended up woke. Here come the necrons. So basically articulated his joints with some magnets, so he has like the Darth Maul effect going on, where he can do like the dual weapons, or you can pose him just to have like the dual or the single rather, and then he's got his gun up on his shoulder there too. So stay tuned for the video and we'll show you exactly how we did this. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that good stuff as well. So what is that on the horizon, brothers? It appears to be a Xenos threat. Oh yeah, it's the necrons. They're here. And if you haven't watched my unboxing video yet, I got my Indomitus set and it was heavily damaged. I reached out to Games Workshop and talked to them, and they're taking forever to get back to me. This happened with the Sisters of Battle set, and it was like months before I got any kind of replacements. So I'm sure you have broken stuff too, some of it beyond repair. So in this video, we're gonna basically like salvage, convert some necrons. I figure like if you were an actual necron and you didn't have the right pieces, you probably would just make it work. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna cut out some of the broken models. I'm gonna try to leave the stuff that can be salvaged, but I'm gonna salvage the stuff that can't. So let's see what we got here. All right, I got an idea. It looks like the main broken pieces are the reanimator thing, the Skorpekh Lord, and the destroyer with the single-handed weapon. So what I was actually thinking I'm going to do is I think I'm going to take the weapon from the single-handed guy, and then I think I'm going to do like a double-bladed type thing, sort of like a Darth Maul type deal. Put the two of them together into one, and then I'm going to reverse these pieces so that essentially his arms will still be in the same position, magnetize his arms and put a magnet at the tip so they can join together as a single blade, or be magnetized, like moved to have like two giant blades. And then that's going to be instead of the claw. And then for the second arm, this piece is broken and I actually like couldn't even find the top part of the arm. So I'm thinking I'm going to do like a Predator style, like a gun on top deal. So, and again, I don't know if I'll magnetize that or what. We'll see how it looks when I start messing with it, but I'll probably flip it up so it's supposed to be, but just reverse everything. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking. It's kind of a crazy random idea, but it's gonna be awesome. So basically we're about to have like a necron, am I saying that name right? Skorpekh. So theoretically here we're about to have a necron Skorpekh Lord, like Darth Maul style, magnetized, fully posable, and then should be amazing with like a Predator style shoulder mounted gun. Alright, so basically I took the two weapons here. I'm going to clean up the edges so they're flat and they can connect right like that. So I'm going to drill two little holes and then put a couple magnets so we can start with those lined up like that. And then we can kind of go from there. So I'm going to just kind of line it up with the shaft, and just to be super precise. It's crazy because the magnets I have are like pretty much the diameter of the shaft, so I cannot mess this up. Alright, so yeah. It's going to be tough to see, but as you can see, it kind of bowed out the plastic a little bit, but it's just drilled out perfectly so a magnet will fit in there. I'm going to do the other one. This one I might have a little more leeway, but I don't want to get cocky either. Okay, so there's one magnet already in here and one sticking out the end. So I'm going to put just a little glue right here, and theoretically they'll be lined up, and then that's what that's going to look like when it's done. That's the weapon. Obviously the hands will be different, but looks pretty cool. That was just to make sure they didn't stay glued together. So that's going to be the weapon when it's finished right there. And then obviously the idea is to be able to go full Darth Maul and then be holding it like two separate weapons, and that would be like the equivalent of using the fist, and then this is when you're using like the single attack. So we'll see. looks like it's working so far. You know, I mean, it's staying together enough that it will stay in place if the arms can move on the joints, and then you just line it up. So looks like it's working so far. We will just be adding a little bit of extra as we go. Alright, so the next step, once we understand how the joints work, we know we need to have a joint here and a joint there. So when these split apart, we'll have the two weapons like this, but we need it to be able to like essentially like rotate at the wrist. Okay, so what I did was I cut off like the two little nubs. Alright, so now we're left with the weapon that's double jointed in the center, and then we also have our joints here and here where we added the magnets. So now we're just going to put an extra magnet on each of those joints, and that's essentially going to be our wrist rotation now once the two weapons break apart, and then he's holding them single-handed, and then when it's held like this, that'll also line up the two arms right here. So alright, so here we have our initial joint between the two weapons that we could rotate on, and then we have now the wrist joint on this side, and then we have our wrist joint on this side that we can rotate now, and then now we have him together, and we've put two magnets here and two magnets here just facing out from his chest, and now all we need to do is just add our two magnets to the shoulder joints, and then we will have the ability basically to you know, essentially like split this over and then move these in so many different ways to have like our Darth Maul ability of splitting from a single blade into two, and then we can mount this bad boy on his shoulder, and we will be very happy with our new conversion and very excited to paint him up. So let's keep going. Well, as you can see, he's got some arms fully magnetized. Came out pretty nice, definitely looks cool. They are posable obviously at the wrist and then at the shoulder joint as well, so you had the ability to essentially just like move them around however you want, kind of give them like that multi-pose different look. Obviously some poses are a little more goofy than others, and the magnets will have a tendency to try to like settle certain ways, but if you just kind of line them up correctly, you go. And once you kind of get them lined up, you can pivot his actual joints a little bit to like get it perfect, but that's essentially it. I mean, the idea was to get him to articulate one single blade into two, not have the claw, but be able to have both those weapons. And now the idea is to just add a little detail back in. Obviously that thing was on the verge of breaking. Obviously, that's funny. We'll go ahead and like put the gun up on his shoulder or whatever, Predator mount style, and then we'll have the final result here shortly.
In the deepest eons of history, before mankind had even emerged from primordial ooze, the necrontier dominated the galaxy. But unity receded, even as the bounds of their domain expanded. Fearing the collapse of their civilization, the leaders of the necrontier assailed the old ones, seeking to wrest from them the secret of eternal life. The galaxy blazed with the fires of war. Too late, the necrontier realized the impossibility of victory. Thus they embraced damnation. The star gods, the Catan, walked amongst them, offering prized immortality and long-sought victory. So ended the necrontier of old. Betrayed by the ambition of Zarek, the Silent King, they were dragged in chains to the fires of biotransference, transmuted from fragile and radiation-cursed bodies to forms more suited for the ravages of war. Stripped of flesh, of mortality, even of their souls, the necrontier passed from history. Only the necrons remained. Now enslaved to the will of the Catan, the necrons at last altered the course of the war. Cosmic battle lines buckled and at last broke beneath a tide of immortal fury.